Well, I think we can all agree the Lakers season opener was a bit disappointing. Not the fact they got beat, more so the fact that they didn't play together at times, weren't very connected throughout the game, the chemistry obviously wasn't there with them yet, and their supporting cast was primarily bad for the most part. Everyone from DeAndre Ayton, a majority of their bench unit, everyone that started apart from Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, it didn't look quite right. However, I'm not worried about that yet. It's simply one game that we're talking about. There were good moments, there were bad moments, but they have 81 games left. So no, I don't think it's time to pack it up yet. No, the season's not over. Despite what Twitter might have you think and what you might be seeing on the timeline today, no, that's not the case. Yes, definitely things to clean up, but they have a long time to do it, and I'm fairly confident in their ability to do that. But something I'm a little bit more worried about is their ever-growing list of injuries. Obviously number one with LeBron, the fact that he's out and likely will be out for another month. We've seen the effect of it last night. Apart from Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, they didn't really have a guy that could self-create, especially not a guy that could go get a bucket and actually apply rim penetration. That was definitely a problem for them that they're trying to overcome yet, which will definitely be difficult for them. But even apart from LeBron, they're now dealing with another injury and to a player that's been hurt for pretty much his entirety as a Laker. That player being Maxi Kleber. You know, when they acquired him, he was dealing with a broken foot that he was trying to recover from. Kinda made it back, played 5 minutes in their elimination game to the Minnesota Timberwolves, but didn't truly play with their team, didn't play a single minute in the regular season, only played 10 minutes during the preseason due to another injury, missing it in part of training camp due to a quad contusion, only playing a grand total of 10 minutes in the preseason, playing in 2 quarters and only one half of one game. So again, it didn't really feel like he was part of the team. Many fans have forgotten about him, and for good reason too. And well, unfortunately, he once again got hurt. According to Mark Stein, Maxi Kleber will be out for at least 2 weeks due to an oblique strain, which, knowing Kleber, will likely be a lot longer than 2 weeks. Even if he is able to make it back, I doubt it'll be anywhere before 4 weeks to maybe 2 months. And even if he does make it back after that point, do we truly expect him to stay on the court and actually be durable for the rest of the year? I mean, I wish we could, and I'd love to be optimistic with him. He did have a fully healthy offseason, but the moment they stepped back in a team setting, in the literal first day of training camp, he once again got hurt. Again, referencing that quad contusion that he got. Then after he tried to come back and play in preseason, he apparently got hurt again, suffering the oblique strain, and now he'll be out for at least 2 weeks, again, which will likely turn into much more than that. And with that in mind here, and then factoring in the expiring contract that he does happen to be under, I think it's time to trade Maxi Kleber. Yes, it might be difficult to make a trade this time of year, but if we're talking about Kleber and the value that he offers their team, which is pretty much nothing at this point because he can't stay on the court, and he really won't be with their team for much longer, if they don't resign him to a contract, and I don't think they will, I think it's really time to start thinking about trading him. Yes, ideally it would be great to have him, would be nice to have a 4-5 that can switch on defense and top for floor spacing, but if he's never on the court, and even if he is on the court, you're not very confident for him to stay on the court and to actually remain healthy, it's probably not worth it at that point. And don't get me wrong, I definitely do feel bad for Maxi Kleber. Definitely nothing against the guy. He's been trying to work his way back and trying to offer their team something on the court, but he simply can't achieve that goal. And well, it's something that JJ Redick talked about yesterday, talking about how he feels bad for Maxi Kleber, how Kleber directly vented to him about not being able to stay healthy. And here's what Redick had to say regarding it.
Well, Maxi's a pro. He's just a terrific teammate and a hard worker. I feel bad for him. I was making sure that we had released that.
Yes,
I'm not
yeah.
I don't get the social media stuff, so so I feel really bad for him right now. He bemoaned to me yesterday that he's like, I do everything right. I take care of myself. I get my sleep. I put the right things in my body. I work out. I train. And, he's been bit a little bit by the injury bug here the last 2 seasons. So I really feel for him. I'm thankful this is a short-term thing, but I know that he'll be in a position in a few weeks to help this basketball team.
Like I said, I definitely feel bad for him. He's obviously trying to work his way back for their team and trying to offer them something on the court, but he simply can't. I mean, I hate the fact that we trade away one of Luka's favorite teammates and one of his longtime teammates, 8 years ongoing now at this point, but if he can't offer them anything, and for a team that does need more value in their bench rotation, I think it's time to trade Maxi Kleber, or at least try to. Now, the obvious con here would be that not many teams are active on the trade market. If you're going to make a trade at this point, it's likely going to be with a rebuilding team, a team that would take the expiring contract to Maxi Kleber because they're trying to lose, not win. So that obviously trims down the teams you could trade with. At this point, there's maybe 4 or 5, at the absolute most 6 teams that might make a trade that would benefit your team and not benefit their team in regard to winning. But even with that, I think there might be a few of them. So we're going to talk about a few Maxi Kleber trades that the Lakers might be able to make pretty much immediately, or if not within a couple of weeks. And for trade number 1, I'd trade with a team like the Utah Jazz, a team that's knowingly not good and that they're really not trying to be that good this season. Yes, trading with Danny Ainge here, but they have made a few trades with him, going back to the Russell Westbrook trade for Jared Vanderbilt, D'Angelo Russell, and Malik Beasley, showing that he will trade with them and even fairly at times too. And for this trade, it's simply a 1-for-1 swap, trading Maxi Kleber for Kyle Anderson and a second-round draft pick going out with Kleber. No, it might not be a trade for a big-name player, but Kyle Anderson's much more durable, is better defensively than Kleber at this point, is able to play that power forward spot, even small ball 5 at times, and can defend 2 through 4 on the court, sometimes 2 through 5, and even at times 1 through 5, depending on the matchup. Is a very versatile defender, even last season shot 35.7% from the 3-point line, albeit on a very low volume and with a very weird shooting motion. I like Kyle Anderson. He's a good disciplined veteran player that's never going to complain about the role you give him. Is a good locker room guy, does have plenty of playoff background, playing in 68 total playoff games, has been a rotation player and a very effective one for over a decade now. I wouldn't mind this swap. Yes, again, might not be a big trade for a big name player, but I think it would help the rotation. Though if you don't like that trade and might be looking for a younger player, and might be looking for a 3-and-D guard, 3-and-D wing, maybe a younger player in general, then maybe a trade for a guy like Josh Green. Here we'd have a trade with the Charlotte Hornets, another team that's not expected to be good, and you might be able to get Josh Green. The unfortunate part being that he is currently hurt as well, though is likely to be back in 1 to 2 weeks, rather than Kleber, who probably won't be back for another month if I had to guess. Green also being significantly younger, 24 compared to Kleber being 33, also playing 68 games last season, only playing under 50 games one time, and that was during his rookie year where he wasn't really a rotation player. Is much more durable than Kleber, actually has some production to point to, last season averaging 7.4 points per game on 39.1% 3-point shooting. Not to mention is a pretty good defender, maybe not an elite or lockdown defender, but is pretty good. Also is a defensive playmaker, averaging 1.1 steals per game last season in 28 minutes per game. Yes, again, the unfortunate part being that he is currently hurt, though I doubt he'll be out for much longer, and I think the long-term bet would be much better with him compared to Maxi Kleber. So that'll be trade option number 2. But if you are trying to trade for a frontcourt player, maybe a guy like Maxi Kleber, kind of what they're hoping to get from Maxi Kleber, maybe trying to make a trade for a guy like Jalen Smith via the Chicago Bulls could be an option. Is significantly younger, is 25 compared to Kleber being 33, likely would take a bit more to get him compared to Kyle Anderson or Josh Green, but it might be worth it. Likely having to trade Maxi Kleber with a future first-round draft pick swap probably is what it would take to get Jalen Smith, but it might be worth it. Trading for a guy that can do a lot of what Maxi Kleber can, offering floor spacing at the 5, even sometimes at the 4, offering some rim protection, blocking about 1 shot per game last season in only 15 minutes per game, that translating to nearly 2 of them per 36 minutes. Then the floor spacing with it that I mentioned, only shot 32.4% last season, but took over 8 of them per 36 minutes, and shot 42.4% during the 2023-24 NBA season. On top of that, is actually a pretty good player around the rim, is a dump-off guy, is a lob threat, is a pretty versatile player in general, and I think he'd be a direct upgrade compared to Maxi Kleber, and would actually be a pretty good piece for their rotation. And well, if you're then trying to expand the trade and maybe get a 3-and-D guard with him, maybe a guy like I would assume who might be available for trade as well. After all, he is on an expiring contract, and with the Chicago Bulls being notoriously cheap and not paying many other guys, he might be on the trade market silently. So maybe including him with a guy like Jalen Smith for a trade, trading Kleber and Dalton Connect to make the trade happen financially, likely having to offer another first-round draft pick swap and their only remaining second-round draft pick to do it, or maybe to get the negotiation started. Maybe it would be too much, maybe it wouldn't be worth it, but I think you'd actually make a pretty good argument for it. getting the upgrade to Maxi Kleber with Jalen Smith, then getting Ayo Dosunmu, another 3-and-D guard for their rotation, a guy that would arguably start for their team right now with no LeBron, a guy that can be a good 3-point shooter, play on the ball, play off the ball, is a pretty good point of attack defender, all around is a pretty versatile option, and is only 25 to go along with it. I think it might be worth it, both for the short term and long term as well, which the Lakers are definitely trying to prioritize with Luka Doncic going forward. Though apart from that, I can't find many trades that are both likely and would actually help their team at this current moment. I'd like to say a trade for Haywood Highsmith, but he's currently hurt and did just suffer a setback. Might be an option at the trade deadline, but not for right now at least. Or for a guy that I've talked about like Matisse Thybulle. I don't think that Portland believes they're that bad. I don't think they're that bad. I think in a tough Western Conference they might eventually offload him, but I think it'll take a couple more months. So with all of that being said, I think the options are currently limited. There might be a few decent ones, but probably are more later on if they can wait for Maxi Kleber. But I definitely would explore the trade market immediately for Maxi Kleber. And with that in mind, what do you guys think? How do you feel about a Maxi Kleber trade following him getting hurt again? Would you look to make one right now? Or possibly wait and try to let him come back and try to play with them? Or maybe wait until the trade deadline to trade him in general? Let me know your thoughts and what route you would take in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.